Hi there, I'm Mrs. Henrickson. I am a civics teacher. So I wanted to take a few minutes and go over just some basic classroom things about my class and some things that you should know. So first, I have my email there. Email is by far the best way to contact me. I'll usually get back within a day or so, except for on the weekends and stuff. So it's definitely the best way to contact me. So kind of civics at a glance here, I want to go through a couple of different things. So with civics, we have 8 different units or organizing principles. And for each unit, we have a district DIA. So we have already done Unit 1, which is citizenship and forms of government. We are about halfway through political heritage and the founding fathers, which is Unit 2. We'll be in this one until the end of this grading period. Then the next grading period is going to concentrate on 3 and 4, which is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and Amendments. We'll be looking at the 3 branches of government, and we'll actually go through and analyze what the Constitution really says, what are the different amendments in both the Bill of Rights and then the other amendments, with a heavy concentration on the amendments that have been added to increase voting rights amongst different groups. After that, in the third 9 weeks, we're going to be looking at federalism and the role of government in more modern time, and then the American legal system, where we're going to look at the courts and the judicial branch. We'll look at some very significant court cases that have set precedents over time. Our last units are political parties and then foreign policy, which will be in the last 9 weeks. And then we'll probably spend about the last month preparing for our EOC. And our EOC is cumulative, so it covers everything that we've done this year. And it is a state mandated test. Students have to take their EOC, which is end of course exam, which is Florida. And it's worth 1/3 of a student's overall grade. So it averages 2/3 for what they've gotten in class on their report card throughout the year. And then 1/3 of it will be their EOC. So it can either help pull up their average or it can pull it down depending on how well they do on it. I usually tell students this is a big reason why they need to be maintaining a pretty high grade in civics, because it is not just a class where you can skate by on a D. You have to be able to really understand the material so that you can pass that EOC, because if they do poorly on it, then they won't, they might not end up passing the class, and then they'll have to take it again in 8th grade. So some expectations. So in my class, our formatives are going to be our basic classwork, homework. Their homework usually entails, if they don't finish it in class, they are always welcome to take it home and do it for homework. And studying. Like I said, we have a lot of material to study. A lot of it is some very intense and very deep material, such as the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the amendments, court cases, and the precedents they set. So these are really big ideas, and it's really important that kids study for homework. I do not give much homework other than finish up what you didn't do in class, other than studying, because I want students to spend time every night reviewing over their notes. So this should just be an automatic given. Summative are going to be in the form of either knowledge checks, which are kind of like small quizzes. They usually cover, 2 to 3 topics. They're not really big. They're usually going to be anywhere between 10 and 15 questions. Tests, I rarely give, every once in a while, but the kids always get plenty of advance notice. Even knowledge checks, always make sure they have at least 3 or 4 days to study over. And then projects, we do various little like mini projects in class throughout the year. And then We'll probably be doing the social studies project later this year, but it will not be assigned until around Thanksgiving. Gradebook. It's so incredibly important that your child and you are regularly checking gradebook. Especially now with everything between live students, in-person students, a lot of times kids don't realize that they're doing poorly in class until they go on gradebook and suddenly, oh, wow, they have an F and they don't understand why. So please regularly check gradebook with your child. Pay attention what assignments are missing. And then if you're worried about them forgetting to ask me, send me an email and say, I noticed I'm missing this assignment. Please put the assignment in there. And I will be able to either respond back, or if they're in person, I'll even pull them aside in class and be like, hey, this is the assignment. I can show it to them, go over it with them so that they can get caught up. Everything that they need is on Canvas, whether they're a live student or an in-person student. All of the assignments are located on Canvas. So they can always complete an assignment on Canvas and turn it in that way, even if they're an in-person student. So I want to spend a few moments just going over in-person students and how things are graded, and then I'll go over how things are done for my live students. So for my in-person students, everything that we do, we keep in a folder or a binder. And we detail it in a table of content. I post the table of content. We update it every other day or so. And then I give students time to go through, put their papers in their binder or in their folder right there in class. So their things should be extremely organized. Then when it's time for me to do enter their formative grades, I do this in the form of binder checks or notebook checks. And I'll call students over to my desk. I go through with the student individually. And normally I'll check maybe like 1 through 5 or 6 through 10, or I'll do just a small chunk. I'll go through the assignments with them. I'll answer any questions they have about those assignments. And then I just enter them in as one chunk grade, and it'll say binder check number 1 in gradebook. Then in the details, I'll list specifically which assignments I graded for it. And that's really the main way that I grade formatives for my in-person students. And this has been working out really well because, one, it allows students to keep their papers. They don't have to turn them in and then wait, 3 or 4 days to get them back, so they can regularly study that way. And it also really helps them stay organized. It's extremely important in middle school. So that's kind of the biggest way that they get formative grades. All right, my live students, everything for my live students is located on Canvas. So I want to take a moment, I want to show you what their Canvas page looks like, because it's pretty much where we submit everything. So I'm just going to change your view. It'll just take a moment. All right, so you should be able to see a sample of a student Canvas page. So they're going to be able to see my name right up top, and there's a little bit of information about me, some resources, student expectations. But for the most part, at this point, they should really just be using modules and occasionally grades. Now keep in mind, grades here do not automatically match Canvas. So really, or not Canvas, gradebook. So really what matters the most is what they have on gradebook under focus, not this gradebook. So looking at modules, I put our current module right up top. So right now we're working on political heritage. I number the assignments so the students know what assignments we've done. So far we've gone through and we have at least started 1 through 6. We've had a vocabulary quiz. This is where they take any knowledge checks, go here. You scroll down a little bit, you can see this is our whole first unit. So if a student's missing something from the first unit, they still have access to it. All they have to do is click on the assignment and complete it. Now, I try to do as many assignments as possible as quizzes. Now, these are not summative quizzes, but they're in a quiz format. So that when students click on the assignment and then it loads, I include our standard. I tell them, what they need to know by the end of it. And then I give a little bit of instruction. They click take quiz. And for this one, you've got some information. We start off with some vocabulary. Then the students go through and they just kind of match a couple of those terms like that. And then they scroll down. They've got another little section of reading, a couple questions that go with the reading. So it's not a summative. It's really a way to kind of teach them the information. And then when they're done, they would go down to the bottom and they would click submit quiz. Obviously, mine does not have answered questions. I'm just going to click OK anyways. And it's going to tell me, I can look over here, I can see, it's going to tell me how I did. Obviously, I did really bad. So it's telling me I missed everything. But after students take it for the first time, they should really be reviewing. What did they miss? I allow multiple attempts, either 2 or 3, on everything that is formative. So after they've gone through, they review it, then they click take quiz again and they redo it, hopefully this time doing better on it. Any formative assignment, they're more than welcome to use notes, to use anything that they have access to help them be successful. Summatives, obviously that is not the case, but those are knowledge checks. But the quizzes allow them to they're just a little bit easier to navigate, I think. They can also check here in grades. And the biggest reason I would say kids might want to look at this is just because it tells them all the assignments and they should be able to see right here, what is their score on it. So it just kind of lets them know what's turned in. So if they're missing something, if it's got a little dash, that means it's never been turned in. Okay. So I hope this has helped you. I hope it helps you better understand what civics is and what we are doing throughout the year. If you do have any questions, like I said, please feel free to email me at any time. I hope that you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you for attending our virtual open house. Bye.